Hey everybody, what's happening? Dan here, Man Cave Mondays. Wanted to do a quick video just to give you guys a little bit of an insight into what that picture was all about on my Facebook page. I said I was projecting a live stream of something I was 3D printing just so I can keep an eye on it. And some of you were like, what in the world is that thing you're printing? Well, this is it. This is the final product. It is a profile clamp, or vertical holding feature for the Nintendo Switch. And the design, the original design, was not my own. I found it on Thingiverse. I will try to post a link to the original design up on the description here when I post it. This was the original print, the original design. You'll notice there's no logo, Nintendo Switch logo on it, and one of the things I found out that was really kind of concerning for me when I was trying to find the right, dialing in the exact right settings to get the right print for this to actually work effectively, the sliding of the Joy-Cons on this thing, you'll notice there's no notch in the side. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's no notch for the Joy-Con to actually clip in, which means that the entire thing is all dependent on, you notice I got it finally dialed in right on the original design, but it's all based on tension and essentially squeezing the Joy-Con in and holding it there with the tension rather than locking it in place. That made me a little nervous, especially if you're going to be going in and out of this mode a lot. I didn't want it to ruin the Joy-Cons. You also notice there were some designs out there, if you look around on Thingiverse, some people, and on Etsy too, I think some people are selling them, which I guess is something maybe I would consider doing if there's enough interest, all you Switch owners out there. But some people created essentially a hybrid of this with this so that you can hold it a little bit better. The downside to that is it only works with official Nintendo Joy-Con controllers and doesn't work with my favorite Joy-Con controllers. These things are fantastic. I will put a link in the description for these as well. I got these off Amazon. I think they were 30 bucks. They got feedback, they got LED, RGB stuff, but they hold great. They click well. They feel like an Xbox controller. Really good feel. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to just take that original design and alter it and make it my own. And so I originally put a Switch logo on it to see if that would be doable in an easy print. Turns out it was. It's pretty simple. But it still had the biggest concern that I had, which was figuring out exactly where to put the notch. So I took this specific print and just manually cut out a notch. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I manually cut out a really janky looking notch just to see theoretically could it work, and it worked great. So I decided to go back to Tinkercad, which is where you go to edit all of this stuff, where I go to edit all of this stuff, and I officially built it with the notch in there, as well as the logo. I've got a few other logos that I'm going to be working on as well. I've got them basically pretty much finished. I just got to add the notch to them, like the Zelda TriForce, paint it in green, or do green filament and then make the yellow the TriForce. That would look really cool. I've also got one that's a three-dimensional textured pixelated version of the original Mario from Mario Brothers. That one actually looks really cool. Yeah, so basically you're like, okay, how much of a practical use is this though, right? That's the real question. How many vertical games are there really for the Nintendo Switch? Some of you are like, there's vertical games on the Nintendo Switch? Yeah, there are. There's actually quite a bit. If I can bring up my library, I've got a bunch. There were a lot that were on sale, like dirt cheap periodically. But if you do pinball, That's a big one. All of the pinball effects. Also, there's a lot of vertical arcade games from back in the day. Speaking of, I think we're going to go to we'll go to one of my favorites. If you go to the Capcom Arcade Stadium, and as this thing loads up, I will mention we're going to be going to 1941. You remember that game from back in the day? That is a game that deserves to be played vertically, filling in the whole screen. So as this thing loads up, I'm going to show you how easily this thing connects to the Switch. For those of you that are like me and you have a little protective covering on the back, it is a bit snug trying to slide it on, but I don't even need to slide it on. I just clip it right on, just like that. Super easy. It's very, very, it's not going anywhere. And then, of course, if you get the controllers, the best part about this now, when you slide it in, there's a nice little click. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. And you'll notice on the back, you probably can't tell, but before, the buttons that you'd push down to unlock it were always pushed in, which probably isn't good for the controller either if you're playing a lot of vertical games. So now, when they hit that little notch, they pop back out and it is locked in place. It's not going anywhere. This thing is, yeah, the controllers aren't going anywhere, and they come out super easy as long as you unlock it, right? So let's get to the games. You'll notice it's switching to vertical mode. All the games can be played in vertical mode, and right there, 1941. If I can, let me turn around here. Let's start a game. We'll insert a coin. We'll start playing. Sure, we'll do that one. And here we go. And it's got all the same, I mean, the game is what it is, right? All the same. But yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Like, this is how the game's supposed to be played. And you can play it handheld. You can play it handheld vertically. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's go to another one. Let's do pinball. We'll do pinball. We'll do Star Wars pinball, which is also one of my all-time favorites. I love Star Wars pinball. I do have another thing printing in the background right now. It is green. It's a shell for a Nintendo Entertainment System controller, a regular NES controller. And I'm going to try and make a Zelda-themed NES controller. So, let's do, yeah, we'll just pick Rogue One, why not? And here's the funny thing, I was not into pinball at all, virtual pinball, especially on the Switch, until I realized that you could do this. Once I realized you could do this, total game changer.
Feed the zipper flipper and use it to score a super skill shot.
Now you can see the entire table. One of the things that bugged the crap out of me was when it would zoom in and follow the ball, but you couldn't see the entire table because then you didn't get a good look at what you were trying to aim the ball for and all of that sort of stuff. So there you go. So that's what I was printing. I just lost the ball. If you guys want the files for these, they'll be in the description. If you want me to print one out for you, if you think this would be something you'd be interested in, like purchasing off of an Etsy store that I created or something like that, I guess let me know. But it's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. And then the best thing I love about it is very not cumbersome at all. So if I want to go back to the regular switch mode, I can just play it like this, handheld, and it doesn't really impede on much at all. If anything, it's like another added protective case around the thing when I throw it into my bag or whatever. So yeah, any other questions or thoughts or whatever, or if you want one for your Switch, let me know.